Welcome to this short introduction into perceptual control theory. I'll try to take you through some basic knowledge of PCT. But the most important aspect in this theory is control. And to understand control, you must understand the control cycle, the perceptual control cycle. And this is a simplified version of this cycle. It is also you can also understand it as a negative feedback loop, and it has some important functions to understand. So first, let's look at the input. The input is a signal. It's a perceptual signal representing what the system is experiencing right now. For instance, like an intensity of sound is an input signal, or a word that I'm saying right now. So the signal can be very simple or very complex. It depends on the level in the system we are looking at. And then another important aspect is the reference signal. And this represents what the system wants to experience. And both this input signal and the reference signals are perceptual signals. Like they have the same quality. They have different values, but they are the same. So you can use them for computation. And that's what happens in the comparator, which computes the difference between the reference signal and the input signal. And this is what we call the error signal. So the error signal drives the output function and tells the systems below the current system like what is needed to decrease the difference between the reference signal and the input signal. So this error signal tells the output function tells the other systems like what do you need to do, what does need to change in order to get the reference and the input as close to each other as possible. I can demonstrate control very easily. Like I can talk while there's like annoying sound going on. So you notice when I talk and the sound is disturbed, you will notice in yourself some kind of annoying feeling, right? It doesn't feel well, and that's a sign of error, right? So the reference of what you want to experience is clear sound, is a proper recording, but what you were experiencing is a disturbed recording. So the sound wasn't as good as you wanted it to be, and maybe you even try to solve the problem, like going away from your sound system, or stopping the video, or going to a point further in the video. So those are ways that you try to control your perception. So now I'll show you a demonstration which is classic in perceptual control theory. This is called the rubber band demo. And you will see, I'll start the video. So you see two people who both have hold one end of the rubber band. And the person on the left is drawing on the paper. He's making a kind of drawing something he has on his mind. But what is the person on the right doing at the moment? So what do you think she's doing? What do you see happening? So most people who see this video for the first time, and certainly most people who haven't studied PCT yet, think that the person on the right is just trying to imitate the drawing of the person on the left. And it's upside down as well, you see? So there's something weird going on. But when you ask the person on the right, what was she doing? She will tell you that her instruction and her purpose in this exercise is to keep the knot of the rubber band right above the dot in the center of the paper. So that was what she was controlling, the position of the knot above the dot. And the drawing is just an artifact of of the disturbance that she got. So the person on the left was moving the rubber band, so the person on the right had also to move in order to keep the knot above the dot. So this is the essence of control, and also one of the big problems of control and the understanding of control theory is that what we see is the behavior, right? So behavior is everywhere. You see people doing stuff all the time, but what remains mostly unnoticed is the goal of this behavior, the thing that is controlled, because it is kept stable while the behavior is changing all the time. So perception has a central role in perceptual control theory, because what we control is our current perception. And you can understand perception as your experience at this current moment. And this experience can take many forms, depending on the layer of perceptual control. So it can be very simple and also very complex. And what you also need to understand is perception, and the thing that you are controlling is not something in the outside world, and it isn't your behavior. It is something inside yourself. It is your own perception of something that is constructed within yourself. And you can test this perception and what it is, for example, by taking a piece of chocolate. So when you taste a piece of chocolate, you will feel the sweetness, you will feel its consistency, you can feel how it melts, how the taste changes over time, and you will move your tongue and your mouth to get the taste of the chocolate just right? So to experience this taste. So that's what experience can be like. So this perception is a specific experience at this time, and it can range from like the pressure of your skin on your skin when you touch yourself, or the taste of chocolate. I can look outside and see a tree leaf moving in the wind, so that's the moving is also a kind of perception. How objects in space or relate to each other is also a kind of perception. Understanding the distinction between things is also a kind of perception. So I can understand that these are two different kinds of objects used for different purposes. So they are also these are also perceptions. Predictability and the way I predict, for example, this video to continue is a perception. And ways to do something are perceptions. Values I strive for, what I think is important, is a perception. And even my worldview, like how I understand the world, what I think is true or not, is a perception. Well, control systems are usually very good at doing what they do. They control their perceptual variable so that everything is just the way they want it to be. But there are many instances where control doesn't work so well, and most of the time that's caused by conflict. So when two control systems work against each other, they both might work perfectly, but they don't reach their goal. So then they experience a loss of control. And that's a case of conflict. So when two control systems control the same perceptual variable, but they have different reference values. For example, when you want to choose what to eat for dinner with your partner, you may want to eat pasta, but your partner wants to eat rice. Right? So that you have different reference values, different wants for the kind of dinner you'll be having, and you will fight each other to get what you want. And if you have children, you will notice that if at the moment you want to leave the house, the children are not yet ready to leave the house. So you fight about the right time to leave the house. And we'll also use the rubber band to demonstrate conflict. So we have the same persons, each pulling one end of the string. But now there's two dots, like there's the green dot on the left and the orange dot on the right. And these people want to keep the knot above their own dot, and you can see what happens. So you can see that they both put more and more effort into reaching their goal, right? They pull the rubber band up to the moment that it breaks, right? So they put in maximum effort, but none of them reaches their goal for a long time, right? Sometimes the knot is above the dot for a moment, but then the other person disturbs that perception again. So that's the effect of conflict. Both work very hard and no one reaches their goal. So what we notice is that in the case of conflict, it is no use to work harder to resolve the conflict, right? Because if one person pulls harder, the other will pull harder as well. So effort won't change a thing. So conflict isn't resolved at the level where it takes place by controlling harder. It is resolved by changing the reference signals. And these reference signals, like the current goals of the perceptual control systems, they are best changed at a level higher, from a higher level of control. And this changing of reference signals is called reorganization in PCT. For example, in the case of eating pasta or rice, you might resolve that conflict by thinking about together, like, what's most important about this kind of dinner? And you might say, well, I want it to be quick and easy. The other person might say, I also want it to be quick and easy. And you might think of another recipe that's quick and easy and that you both like, or you can order takeout in order to have a proper dinner together, right? So you change the reference values. You don't want pasta anymore or rice anymore. You want something that's quick and easy, and you'll find a way that fits both control systems. And this process of reorganization is often experienced as having a new insight or seeing something from a new perspective or creating new possibilities. And this is also like the most important mechanism in psychotherapy, where people are stuck for a long time in many ways. And therapy and psychotherapy is intended to help them resolve this situation by reorganization from a higher level. And that's what we do, for example, in method of levels therapy. So how can you learn more about this theory? Well, there are a lot of books, there's papers, there's blog posts, there's videos about perceptual control. We're all very enthusiastic about it and would love to tell you more. But it starts with recognizing control in your own life. So think about, like, what is it that I'm wanting, that I'm keeping in a certain state, like, or what do I want to achieve? So recognizing your own wants and your own reference states, well, will help you see the ways you are controlling in many ways, all the time. All we do, all our behavior is control. So this might be a start of thinking about control and perceptual control. And what you also might notice is that this kind of this theory fits within a systemic worldview where we look at relations between aspects. So we do not look at separate aspects, like there's emotion and there is psychopathology, and there's motivation and there's behavior, right? All these aspects, they are interconnected. They work together in a systemic model and in a certain dynamic model. So that's the way forward for psychology towards understanding that fits our complex experience much better than the disembodied worldview that we're used to as psychologists. Well, PCT has applications all over the world in many disciplines. So it's used in sociology. People build robots based on perceptual control. They understand sports. They understand health psychology. And we also have our applications in psychotherapy. So please continue controlling, and I'm happy to share more with you if you want to know more.